Be patient when becoming someone you haven't been before. Be patient when becoming someone you haven't been before. One of my good besties sent me that quote this morning, and it's perfect timing for me, as at the time of this recording, I am celebrating another year around the sun. And I reflect back of my years of life, of all the things I've had to change in order to become the person I am now. And yet and still, there's more things I will have to continue to change in order to become the person I want to become. And that, my great listeners of the I Digress podcast experience, is the same thing in business. Stockton to the mailman, D-Wade to LeBron. Alley-oops can't happen without dynamic chemistry. Mahomes throwing a Kelsey, and even the Taylor Swift fans go wild. Receiving touchdowns are just drops without the perfect pass and catch. Double plays will never turn without coordination. And your leads go nowhere if you aren't on the same page with sales. Ooh, you like that? See what I did there? Sales super teams aren't built overnight, but I think we all know that. They require unicorn level talent, hours upon hours of training, huge and maybe even bottomless budgets, and the perfect mix of impossible luck and 24/7 work. Or you could just try a better sales platform. I get it, and let me tell you, HubSpot gets it too. That's why they created Sales Hub. It's an all-on-one platform filled with all the tools and all the insights to deliver the personalized comms people are actually looking for. Smarter prospecting? Check. Faster revenue? Yep. Scales with you? Sure does. Plus, with tons of AI-powered features, teams can spend less of the day on boring, time-sucking tasks and focus more on growing the relationships that actually matter most. And we know your old platform just ain't making a cut, sitting on the bench. Ain't an all-star, ain't primetime, ain't doing it. It's cumbersome, it's expensive, it's causing a rift between marketing and sales. I could go on, but I digress. So let's focus on the keys to winning. Are you ready to help your sales team reach all-star selling status? With Sales Hub, closing deals is no big deal. Head to HubSpot.com/sales to try it for free now. I've been trying to navigate and adjust a lot in my life. Over the last 3 months, I have reflected and discovered, and I've applied the 6 I's: introspection, investigation, initiation, integration, implementation, and innovation to myself to make this pivot, to make this shift in order to pursue this new venture I'm trying to make into fruition. And I'll tell you, as much as people want to separate your life, your personal life, from your business life, in actuality, it's all an accumulation of the same whole. I'm not trying to necessarily do a work-life balance. To me, that's not adequate enough for the demands of life in general. I think it's taking all the different buckets that are a part of your life and finding the right mix where you're not too far gone and at the same time, you're not too lax. And you know, one of the biggest drivers of business, it depends on how you look at it from your lens. The fear of success or the pain of scarcity. The pursuit of abundance or the complacency of life hardships. Whether you are an executive at a top business firm, whether you are in corporate America, whether you're a small business, whether you're a startup, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a freelancer with a side hustler, whether you are a student coming into the workforce, or maybe you're in between jobs right now, or you're on sabbatical, or you are on vacation, or maybe you're even retired and you're looking for the next thing. All of those things I just listed may feel all separate journeys, but when you break it down on the molecular level, it's simply where you are now and where you're hoping you go. You are always on this transformational journey of where I am now and where I'm trying to go. So with that, I'll leave you with this. Are you doing the necessary things to go from where you are right now to where you're trying to go?
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to be the keynote speaker at Marketech Conference 2024. That is in Nebraska. Now, I've never been to Nebraska. As we all know, February is Black History Month. And we have an extra day in 2024 for Black History Month. And for those who were born on a leap year, happy 4th, 5th, or 6th birthday to you. But I digress. I'm sharing all this to say I am trying to prepare myself from who I am now as far as a public speaker and how I articulate how to distill growth strategies and tactics in simplified ways for many people to understand. And my hope is that people take away nuggets and gems that they can apply and activate immediately to achieve results. And now the clock is ticking because I'm speaking on the leap year day, February 29th. So I have a whole month to get this keynote together. Now, on top of that keynote, I have 2 other breakout sessions that I'm doing. Now, I'll be very transparent to all of my listeners. This is the very first time I've spoken this much on the same day. I've done keynote, I've done a breakout, I've done hosting, but I've never had to do an extensive opening, high-level premiere keynote going right into 2 additional breakout sessions. And you know what? I welcome the challenge. And if you are planning on attending Marketech Conference this year, if you're listening from Nebraska and you're trying to learn about me, like who is this keynote brother about to speak? Let me tell you, I'm all about creating a safe space, a dynamic space, so you can receive energy, dispel and eliminate fear, and embrace what's possible through strategy and tactics to elevate your marketing and sales to achieve the revenue, to make the impact that you hope to make. And by doing that process, you gain confidence in what you're trying to do. And along the way of doing this podcast, I've learned if I'm trying to test out new methodologies and frameworks and strategies, and for those who really know me, the mnemonics and the acronyms and the analogies and all the anchor points and all that jazz, podcasting has been a very therapeutic and healthy way for me to do that. And so I said all that to say this. How you prepare shows how much you care. If you prepare a lot, it shows how much you care for your clients, your customers, your community, and your audience. If you prepare a little, it's possible your values aren't aligned with whom you claim to serve. Well, I'm telling you right now, I am preparing a lot for this new keynote. And I am preparing a lot as I'm manifesting and claiming new clients, new speaking opportunities. I am claiming and manifesting and preparing myself for what I hope to get. And in the same way, I challenge you. I declare and decree that if you put in the work to prepare yourself for a bountiful harvest within your business, somehow it attracts what you're putting in. You look at a farmer and they tend to the soil. The soil may look broken and messy and dried up. They tend to the soil and they sow the seeds. They have to break up the ground and do all the different things and nuances to make what looks like barren, flat land. They see the vision If I plant the seed, bury the seed, water the seed, nurture the seed, tend after the seed, eventually the harvest will be bountiful. I'm not a farmer, but that has to be something to get used to, that every season there's nothing. And by the end of whatever that season is, there's all these amazing things that you have physically, literally grown from the ground. Why can't we take that same framing into our business? Listen up, entrepreneurs. Listen up, startups. For those who are trying to go to the next level as a promotion or next level in their business, you are a farmer. You have skills and talent. Or maybe you are building a product or you have service deliverables. Whatever it is you have been blessed to create as an asset that can be beneficial to a certain niche, a certain demand, you go out there and sow the seeds near and far. You plant them, you nurture them, you water them, you attend to them, you monitor them, and you adjust as different things in life, different things in nature may come around, and you have to adjust how you manage your seeds. It is literally the same thing in business. When I started this podcast, it was this tiny little amoeba of a thought sparked from an inkling of watching someone else do a podcast. And I had a brief moment thinking, I wonder if I can do that. And the funny thing is, many people think, and when they're an observer, oh, that's really easy to do. But then you get really deep into it and you find out, I see why most can't do this. I see why few can get something started. And I even see why fewer make it last. That's not only beneficial, that's not only creative, entertaining, educational, inspiring, motivational, whatever adjective you want to add. And let's say it even makes them profitable. Now, I've always said, since I started the podcast, I am not a podcaster. I am a marketer who just so happens to have a podcast. Well, as we are approaching the 100th episode of I Digress, I think by now I can say unequivocally, I am a podcaster that just so happens to be a marketer. Now, the switch in all of that, all the days, all the months of how do I get better at this thing? Now, when I started, my hope was I become the person I need to be to make this podcast what I envision it to be. The success of your business, the success of your product, the success of your service being distributed in the marketplace for people to consume and want and buy is predicated on the growth of you. And the only way to grow is to change. And to change, you must get comfortable in the uncomfortable that comes with the process to then be the change. If you think you aren't worthy of a successful business, if you think you don't have the components necessary to be a successful business owner, leader, marketer, whatever the case you want to be in this world, you will not become that person. And that business, that product, that service, that asset, that media company, whatever it is you're trying to build, create, and sell will not work. How you think and how you feel matters. You developing discipline, you being consistent, you trying again, even though you may have failed before, is all about your belief that in time, what was nothing but messed up, dried out soil can bring forth bountiful fruit in the harvest. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Brands are becoming more human. But for brands to become more human, it requires the entrepreneurs, the leaders, and the founders to express more what's going on in their human minds. Chris Savage, host of Talking Too Loud, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. who is also Wistia's CEO and the loudest talker, as the name projects, takes you inside the minds of entrepreneurs as they share the hilarious, formative, and most challenging aspects of building more human brands. We're talking inside the creative journey, why better vision leads to better products, the lowdown on growth strategies, getting intentional, resonance over reach, the future of design work, and I can go on and on and on. If any of this resonates, I encourage you to go listen to Talking Too Loud wherever you get your podcasts. Yesterday ended last night. If you were successful, I hate to tell you, that was yesterday. You can't live on yesterday's success. And if you failed, guess what? That also ended last night. Stop carrying it. You get a fresh 24 to duplicate success. And you get a fresh 24 to avoid failure. Transparently so, I had the thought of what I was going to do today that when I got up this morning, even on my birthday. And a part of it, I failed. And I was distraught. But in the same breath, I'm recording this episode right now in this moment to then hopefully edit and publish for you to receive what you are receiving right now in this moment. Which again is something I wanted to do yesterday but couldn't get to it. But I didn't let yesterday stop me from trying again today. And even in the things that I failed today, if I'm blessed to see another fresh 24, I get to try again once more. We can't let yesterday's success or failure blind us from what we have to do today. We have to maximize our 24. We get a fresh 24. How are we going to spend it? Yeah, I messed up. I failed. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, or I let something happen I didn't want to let happen within the last hour. Okay, if we break down our fresh 24, okay, I didn't get what I wanted to get done within that 1 hour. Am I going to let the remaining hours I have within this fresh 24 go to waste? No. Throw the last hour, throw that hour away that wasn't good for you. I'm going to get it back. Just like a relay race. There's always going to be a leg where you're ahead, and there's going to be a leg where your time wasn't that good. But as long as you have another leg, there's an opportunity to make up for it. So in your business, as you sowing these seeds, and maybe you're not the best marketer, maybe you're not the best salesperson, maybe that's why you're listening to this podcast in hopes that I can help you. Well, I can. Go to growwithtroy.com, book an appointment. Go to season3media.com, my new venture with my best friends, Christina K, book an appointment, and we can help you. But I digress. Even in that, you still have to take the necessary action of yourself to do the things you need to do to be successful. Now, the equation to success is simple. Achieving $1 million is simple. That's $274 a day. $274 a day. Many times people say that we want to achieve 6 figures. I used to think that until I actually achieved 6 figures, and I realized it wasn't enough. It's not that I don't manage my money properly and appropriately. It's that we get so fixated on this next level, and then you realize, oh, there's a whole nother level to this thing. We ain't beat the game yet. There's a bigger boss. There's a harder boss. Again, going back to the point, yesterday's success don't define today. And even yesterday's failure does not define today. You level it up. Guess what? It's going to be another boss. Sorry, I spoiled the ending for you. It's going to be another boss. But when you get into the habit of, I'm going to achieve and beat this game, I'm going to keep leveling up, and you're coming from the right mindset of how you think and how you feel. How you think and how you feel creates this friction. Friction that creates this vibration that becomes a magnet, and that magnet then attracts the things you want. Doesn't mean you won't have hardships. Don't mean you won't have struggles or challenges. But the anchor point is, I have this vision for this land. I'm going to sow the seed of my product, my service, my offering in this land. And I'm going to observe which patches grow fast, which patches grow slow, which patches don't grow at all. Now, sometimes you can salvage those patches that don't grow at all, or guess what? Sometimes you got to dig that out and plant a different type of seed for the environment. Come on. Not all components within a piece of land have the same environment, the same terrain. They all have different needs. And so if you don't navigate in a way that what you're offering to the world isn't aligned with your demand, it won't happen. The number one thing businesses need to understand, you got to create an offer that converts. It's that simple. To get to anything you want in life, you have to create an offer that converts. You're trying to get a job, position yourself. You then, therefore, are the offer that someone says yes to your hire that converts. You're trying to close this big deal to get this big new client. You are creating a proposal, an offer that's irresistible to them to say yes, that converts. The same thing in marketing for your social media marketing campaigns. And the thing about creating an irresistible offer that converts, it should be pulled from the market and not your mind. So if we layer that with our analogy of the farmer to the soil and seeing areas that aren't receiving the seed because nothing's growing there, well, the market is telling you, So therefore, you either need to do more to tend to that soil, or you plant a different type of seed that's going to hopefully be successful in that soil. Now, it'd be wise to say, hey, I got all this land. 65% of that land is receiving my seed that I'm sowing. The remaining 35% is not. And if I'm on a time window, which most farmers are, with different seasons, you only get so much amount of time, a lot of time to make things happen. I either don't worry about the 35% or I put a new seed down. Just because you have one offer doesn't mean you can't create an entirely new offer to make this work. I had an episode way back talking about the principles of Taco Bell, taking the same ingredients to output different food items. So if this one area ain't receiving, go back to the lab, take your components, and make an offer that lands. And if you're crunch for time, focus on where the demand is. If you stretch yourself too thin, you will not get anywhere fast. Today is what matters. We exaggerate yesterday, we overestimate tomorrow, and we underestimate today. That's what John Maxwell says. But we exaggerated 2023, 2022. Now, 2020 and 2021, we did not exaggerate. We all know what went down within that 2-year window. But we also overestimate this year. We overestimate next year. Symptoms of startups. They have extremely high valuation, and they may not match up. Their valuation and come crumbling down. And in many cases, we underestimate this year as well. Let's not exaggerate, overestimate, or underestimate this year. If you didn't get what you want last year, let's not carry that energy over into this year. Let's become that magnet that attracts the bigger things to you. But at the same time, let's be poised and disciplined and cautious, but also fearless and encouraged. Because it takes all of those emotions and things to tend to the soil to reap bountifully. It takes it all. There's going to be days you're not going to feel like tending to the soil, doing the cold outreach, creating the content, doing the marketing campaigns, following up, asking for referrals, asking for business. And you're going to question, is this my path? Is this what I'm meant to do? I really think what it is. We all have a purpose and we have passion, but you know what we don't have? Most of us don't have a plan. Most of us don't have a plan. And I'm not talking about a basic plan. I'm talking about an in-depth plan. But the thing about a plan is, without a strategy, a plan can't be created. Because strategy incorporates all of the things of what was, of what is, and what you hope to become, while accounting for all the frictions and the variables that you will face, while also isolating all the things, your strengths, your weaknesses within yourself and your team, your integrations, your technology, all of these things, and assess the demand, the market, world culture, your clients and your customers' culture. And we're doing all these connectings, what I like to call nodes, in my new keynote called Conscious Growth Pathways, where we're really connecting the nodes of the dots. Instead of just being inbound and outbound as separate entities, I like to think of it as, and I'm not trying to share all the tea, but in order to create this growth pathway built upon so many different nodes of connection, it's not simply a straight left or right. Those don't exist in the pathway of growth if we're really thinking about it. What does exist is that humans are very complicated. Is that demands are different. The world is changing constantly. New technology, new infrastructure, new mediums, new platforms. But when you understand the psychology and the sociology of humans and culture, When you can align your passion, your purpose to whatever you create and put out to the world to a demand that's going to make you profitable and also help make you impactful. And when you can find the right channels and mechanisms to then proclaim what you do to who you do and what you do and how you do it and why you do it and where you do it for the consumption to say, I need what you have, take my money now, that's where the sweet spot lives. But it doesn't stop there with the plan. You also have to account for the sustainability of what you have, what you had, and what you hope to get while you're scaling all at the same time. So when people have the passion, have the purpose, but they don't have the plan because they didn't embrace the strategy to create the plan. Again, the plan is ever evolving, ever adjusting, ever moving, ever changing. You see where I'm going with this? We don't get what we want. So a farmer who attends to the soil, if they don't come at it with the plan, built off the strategy of what they know from the weather, to the type of land, to the type of seed, to the type of nurturing things that they need to incorporate into what they water or feed the plants in order to grow, and map it out, and then take all those crops, all the produce to sell at a certain evaluation that I can't go under this price because it took me this long to make. I can't go this low on my services because I have this much experience. I put this much time, hours, effort, energy, success, failures into it. And that's the crazy thing. People think with service businesses, we can just give you the cheapest thing. No, you are literally inheriting what may have took 5, 10, 15, 20 years of knowledge and pain and sorrow to come to this fruition and conclusion, this expertise level, to give it to you in 1 to 2 to 3 months or in a year. Time is the most expensive commodity that you have. So I'm saving you time. That's worth more money. I'm saving you time to get to where you want to be faster. So I am fast tracking you. When you work with me as a growth strategist, as a go-to market strategist, when you work with Season 3 Media, me and Christina, we are literally saving you time while also getting you closer to your goals that you want to be in your business. But I digress. The anchoring of all of that, no, then it enforces your price. If this area doesn't receive my price infrastructure, there's either 2 things to do. Lower your price for that demand and that market to approve of, or go somewhere else where they will receive that price. But the third option is simply creating a new offer that appeals to that audience. If you're pitching the same thing and no one buys it, it goes nowhere. If you modify it to pitch to different audiences, it can go anywhere and everywhere. Sow the seeds. Multiply your growth. But understand, to do that, you have to be like the farmer. You have to believe and see the vision and tend to the ground. Under the constraints of time, navigating the challenges of Mother Nature, navigating the challenges that some soil will not create the right environment, the produce won't come to fruition, which only means one thing, and that requires change, adaptability, agility, discipline, consistency, all those components to create the pathways to growth that we want to achieve. So my encouragement to you on this episode, you know what's necessary. And if you don't know, go ask. Find the people who can bring the knowledge, the insights, the technology, the marketing, the sales, whatever you lack to fruition to help empower you to bring your calling of your business, your product, your service to fruition in 2024.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.